Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Buddhaṃ Pujemi Dhammaṃ Pujemi Sanghaṃ Pujemi. By this practice of Dhamma, in accord with the Dhamma, I venerate the Buddha. By this practice of Dhamma, in accord with the Dhamma, I venerate the Dhamma. By this practice of Dhamma, in accord with the Dhamma, I venerate the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Friends, let us all study, investigate, and practice the real words of the Buddha. Tonight, we are going to study, understand another very important discourse of the Buddha. This is from Connected Discourses of the Buddha, chapter 23, the discourse number 2. The name of the discourse is A Being. For our easy understand, our sort of palatable topic tonight is scatter, demolish, and shatter this form. That is the topic. Again, scatter, demolish, and shatter this form. Not only form. This is the very words of the Buddha, not my words. Not only form, we have to scatter, demolish, and shatter this form, feeling, perception, volitional formation, and consciousness. What are these? 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates are to be understood and scatter, demolish, and shatter. So the name of the discourse is A Being. being, when we talk about beings, as Buddhists, whenever we practice metta, loving friendliness, we suffuse metta, loving friendliness with all beings without any discrimination. Yeah, to extend metta, love, loving thoughts, goodwill to all, towards all beings. All beings are born again and again in this samsara. There are different types of beings. Buddha has categorized them in different groups. Once the Buddha said, there are beings, once born being, and there are some beings, they are called twice born beings. Once born beings are like beings born from the mother's womb. Twice born being means first they are born as an egg, and thereafter they are born from the egg. That is why they are called twice born beings. According to Metta Sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta, Buddha categorized different beings. First of all, Buddha categorized them all into two groups as movable beings and immovable beings. Thereafter, the movable beings, moving beings, are categorized into 12. Another category is there in the Khanda Sutta, the aggregate, discourse of aggregate, where the Buddha pointed out different types of beings in the world, like footless beings, like snakes, then 2 feet beings, like humans and birds, then 4 feet beings, dogs, cats, cattle, like that. And there are many feet beings, centipede, millipede, multipede beings. These are different categories of beings. In the discourses, we find another category which is egg-born beings. Egg-born beings. Beings are born from eggs. Eggs are there for beings to be born. Egg-born beings. Then there are beings, moisture-born beings, like flies, mosquitoes. Then there are beings, womb-born beings, like humans, elephants, like that. And there is a very special one which is called spontaneous being, spontaneously born being. Spontaneously, beings are born spontaneously without the parents' union. That is why it is called spontaneously born beings. So friends, these are different types of beings. Once the Buddha said, all beings die. That is the common thing to all beings, wherever the beings, they all have one particular common characteristics. That is, they all die. Sabbe satta marissanti in his language, in the Buddha's language, Pali. Sabbe satta marissanti. All beings die. Maranang tanghi jivitang. Buddha said, this life ends with death. You see, only this life ends with death. After death, there's another life. If we have craving, attachment, another life like that. Not everything is finished with the death. So in this manner, Buddha has categorized different beings not to consume, not for our consumption, but to extend metta, love and friendliness to all beings in the world without any discrimination. The Buddha has taught us different methods to develop metta and extend metta towards all beings in the whole universe. Since all beings die before our death, if we understand the very words of the Buddha, real words of the Buddha, we can practice this Dhamma, then before our death, we can live happily, peacefully, light-heartedly in this society. And finally, we can close our eyes peacefully. That is the purpose of this human life. Rarely gain opportunity. Humans' life is a rare. It's a rare opportunity. So friends, we got that wonderful opportunity. We were born as humans. So that life is a rare opportunity. And the words of the Buddha, the real words of the Buddha, is also a rare opportunity. We get this after long periods of time, eons and eons after. Not years and years, but eons and eons after. So we got this wonderful opportunity. If we practice this properly, correctly, as the Buddha said, we can live happily, peacefully, unattached to things. Buddha said, there is nothing to attach in this world. Nothing. Nacha kinchi loke upadhyati. There is nothing to cling to in this world. So referring to beings, this special discourse, the name of the discourse is A Being. What is a being? Who is a being? Let's come to this short discourse and understand who is a being. What is a being? This particular discourse was delivered by the Buddha while the Buddha was dwelling at Savatthi, Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. One day, Venerable Radha went to the Buddha, and after respecting the Buddha, he sat aside. Then Venerable Radha said to the Buddha, Venerable Sir, it is said, a being, a being. In what way, Venerable Sir, is one called a being? Then the Buddha said, one is stuck, rather tightly stuck in what? In desire, lust and delight and craving. Desire or craving, where there is delight and lust as well. Whether you call it delight, lust or desire or craving, the same thing happening. Where you are grasping it because of craving, because of desire, because of your lust. You are delightful. You see, delight and lust go together. With that, we grasp things as mine, me, myself. That is the cause of suffering. This is the technique. You have to understand the technique and apply the technique here. If we grasp, we have to suffer. If we do not grasp, we don't want to suffer. That's it. So what we grasp, what we stuck, the Buddha said, one is stuck, tightly stuck, tenaciously grasp, tenaciously stuck for form, craving for form, that we have craving there. For what? For form. Therefore, one is called a being. That is why one is called a being, because he or she is stuck for form, tightly stuck, grasped form as mine, me, myself. That is why one is called a being. Then further the Buddha said, one is stuck, tightly stuck in desire, lust, delight and craving for feeling. Like this, like form, like feeling, stuck for feeling. Therefore, one is called a being. One is stuck, tightly stuck in desire, lust, delight and craving for perception. Therefore, one is called a being. One is stuck, tightly stuck in desire, lust, delight and craving for volitional formations. Therefore, one is called a being. One is stuck, tightly stuck in desire, lust, delight and craving for consciousness. All these five. What are these five? Five aggregates. Unfortunately, misunderstandingly, most people think these five aggregates means this body. That is why they say that when we die, we leave behind 5 aggregates, which is incorrect, which is not the words of the Buddha. 5 aggregates are, friends, not physical but mental. They are not born. 5 aggregates are not born. Since they are mental, they are manifesting. Manifesting is not born. Manifesting means they come to be when there are necessary conditions. When there are necessary conditions, they come to be manifest, just like the manifestation of a deity, Deva, Patu Bhuta. Devas are not born. Brahmas are not born. Hungry ghosts are not born. They have no parents. They have no children. They are manifesting. They are appearing and disappearing. That is why they are called manifesting. Just like that, these 5 aggregates are manifesting. They are appearing and disappearing. Where? In the 6 sense bases. In the eye, in the ear, in the nose, in the tongue, in the body, and in the mind. They are all the time, constantly, continuously, instantaneously. They arise in passing, arise in passing. We do not let them arise and pass as worldlings, as ignorant persons. We grasp them. We want to grasp them as mine, me, myself. That is the problem. So we suffer. We grasp them and suffer. So the Buddha's teaching is not to grasp them, not to cling to them. If you cling to, the Buddha clearly said, if you cling to, you have to suffer. Buddha's teaching is not to suffer, but to be equanimous, to be contented. That is why, friends, we want to understand this wonderful Dhamma. So the Buddha said, Buddha gives a simile now. Suppose rather some little boys or girls are playing with sand castles. So long as they are not devoid of lust, as long as they have lust, these children, little ones, as they are playing with sand castles. You can remember when you were young, when you were little ones. When you were little ones, you did this. We all have done such things in our early days. So as long as we have lust, desire, affection, thirst is craving, passion, and craving for those sand castles, these children, these little ones, they cherish them. They like them very much. They cherish them. Then they play with them, treasure them. They treasure them. They are treasures. These sand castles are their treasures. The most important things for them. The most valuable things. Because they are not devoid of lust, desire, affection, thirst, passion, and craving for those sand castles. They want to keep them as something permanent as mine, me and myself. And then Buddha said, they treat them possessively. They treat them possessively as their own possessions. But, on the other hand, the Buddha said, but when those little boys or girls lose their lust, desire, affection, thirst, passion, and craving for those sand castles, then they scatter. They scatter them with their hands and feet. They scatter them. Scatter these sand castles. Demolish them and shatter them and put them out of play. That is what is to be done by the wise persons. These sand castles should be scattered, should be demolished, should be shattered. What is this sand castle? 5 aggregates affected by clinging. 5 aggregates subject to clinging, affected by clinging. These 5 aggregates are the sand castles. These are to be demolished. Why? Whole Dhamma is connected to these 5 aggregates. If you understand these 5 aggregates properly, you can understand the 4 noble truths, the dependent origination, the 3 characteristics of existence, and whole Dhamma taught by the self-awakened one, perfectly self-awakened one, the Buddha. The whole Dhamma, if we understand properly these 5 aggregates. From where? From the 6 sense bases. They are there in the 6 sense bases. They are arising, passing in all beings. All beings. Even the Buddha and the Arahants, they themselves have these 5 aggregates, but only the difference is that they have only 5 aggregates. In our case, as worldlings, as worldly people, putujjana, worldly people, we grasp these 5 aggregates as mine, me, myself. That is why they are called 5 aggregates affected by clinging, or subject. 5 aggregates subject to clinging. So that's the difference between the Buddha and worldly people, worldly beings. So all other beings are called beings. Satta. Pali term is Satta. Buddhas are not Satta. Buddhas are not called beings. Beings. They are not beings. They are asatta, non-beings. They are not beings. Why being? The term being is given here because whoever grasps these 5 aggregates are called beings, but Buddhas are not grasping this. Since Buddhas and Arahants, the enlightened ones, are not grasping, they are not called beings. All others who are clinging to these five aggregates are called beings. So the Buddha said, these little ones, since they have no more desire, no more affection, thirst, passion and craving for those sand castles, then they scatter them with their hands and feet, demolish them, shatter them, and put them all out of play. So now the Buddha's instruction, kind admonition for all of us. What is that? Buddha taught to Radha. On that day, Buddha taught to Radha, though it's for all of us. Buddha said, so too, scatter them, demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play, practice for the destruction of craving. Craving is to be destroyed, demolished, scattered, shattered. Scatter feeling, demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play, practice for the destruction of craving. Practice for the destruction of craving. That is why we practice. The purpose is what? Purpose is destruction of craving. Scatter perception, the Buddha says. Scatter perception, demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play, practice for the destruction of craving. Scatter volitional formations, demolish it, shatter it, put it out of play, practice for the destruction of craving. Then finally said, scatter consciousness, demolish it, shatter it, and put it out of play, practice for the destruction of craving. For the destruction of craving. Why? The Buddha said, for the destruction of craving rather is Nibbana. Nibbana, the highest bliss, means destruction of craving. Tanhakhayo Nibbanang. Destruction of craving is Nibbana. Friends, this should be experienced here in this very world. You cannot experience this nowhere else. Here. That is why we have to understand this wonderful teachings of the Buddha and put this Dhamma, put this technique into practice so that we can live happily, peacefully, light-heartedly, and one day we can close our eyes peacefully. Let's all read more and more Dhamma, more and more original teachings of the Buddha, the very words of the Buddha. Let's study this, investigate, practice this real Dhamma. Then definitely we should be able to experience this wonderful Dhamma, experience this highest bliss of Nibbana. May we realize that real peace, real happiness of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.